Hi, my name is Hazel Evans, and I'm creating this video as part of the library of videos for Priestess of Creation, which is basically inspiring the feminine evolutionary for right now, and how we can enliven that within our bodies, within what we create in our relationships, and how we navigate through life. So I'm really passionate about this work. I've created and recreated myself through many different ways throughout my life so far, and I'm really at the point where now I really need to share what I've done, and how I've created that and transformed my life through experiencing life itself, and just keep on going for it, so this is what I'm sharing. And today the question that I am answering is, what would life be like if I could connect to my senses? So obviously, we can answer this question in so many ways, but I'm going to do it in my way. And this, for me, I've been on this journey of awakening the senses within the body, and how to do this. And we can do this through so many wonderful ways, through yoga, through conscious dancing like bear dance or 5 rhythms, or shamanic journeys, and priestessing work, and coming into the body, and meditation and mindfulness. And there's so much out there that we can learn to start tapping into our senses. I think one of the things that was really interesting for me about coming into my senses, and I've mentioned this before, when I first sort of woke up out of the darkness of attracting so much negativity into my life, to the point of a breakdown and a very destructive relationship. And then, like, Pandora's box opened from there, and realized that I had to look at myself. And that was about 15 years ago. And how can I start transforming myself? Somebody said to me very early in those days about your vibration, and I was really curious about this, because I had no idea. I was brought up in an atheist family where there's any kind of spirituality was labeled as being religious, and that being not a good thing, and the confusion between, actually, we can be spiritual without being religious. And so first of all, acknowledging step by step my spirituality, and along the way, one of those things was actually that I am a spiritual being and I have a vibration. Now, what does this mean? What does it mean to have a vibration? And coming into realizing that everything is energy, and awakening to this over the last 15 years to lots of different levels. And of course, as you'll know, when you're in a life breakdown, you've experienced that, or experiencing that now, it's not all great. It's not like you get the answer like this and then you're like, oh great, now I know how to live and make my life fantastic. It just doesn't happen like that. So it's this process of rebirthing, and part of that for me personally has been accepting myself as a spiritual being, which means for me understanding and realigning, reawakening, reinstincting my senses as a being here, and understanding that I can tap into my vibration, I can feel it. It's not just something that I think, well, if I think positively enough, then great things will happen to me. That's part of it. But there's also this very physical aspect where you can literally awaken your body and you can feel the resonance that's happening in parts of your body, and you journey through your body. And I know this from having done so many different experiences and really taking them consciously So, for example, yes, it started with yoga and then Vaya Danza and 5 rhythms, the shamanic journeys and processing work and meditation, like, all of these beautiful things that we can do. And I found that along the way, it was really important to consciously experience these events and see how that felt in the body, and how an aspect of transformation was happening, rather than just having a nice time and like, oh yeah, that was great, and now I feel relaxed and so much better, and let's just get on with life. What happens if I take that experience and open up the layers to get down to where it really is happening for me, which is all in the base of the body. This is where all the survival mechanisms are. This is where the confidence mechanisms are. This is where the sensuality is, the sexuality, right down in the body, and beyond the nice experience, opening up that portal in the body to experience a deeper level of senses. Now, what I found with this is, it brings up a lot. So it's you've got to be ready to face yourself and to really go there, and to not be afraid, and as best you can without judgment, to experience yourself. So awakening the senses, what would it be like if you could connect to your senses? Well, it's not going to be all roses. You're going to see things, and there's going to be experiences or memories, or the body holds so much memory. And as you want to tap into that body wisdom to know more about your your feminine essence, and how beautiful and creative and sexual and sensual you can be, you've also got to see what's blocking that and what is in the way. So there's like this balance between this playing of these worlds. You've got to accept the shadow in order to have the light, and it's constantly moving like this. And finding a way to navigate through the feelings, the feelings that arise, and learning to detect what is authentic and what is drama. And learning, when I'm going through some transformational process, I always imagine, a bit like my painting behind me here, I always imagine like I'm in this tunnel, like in this green room, as if I'm surfing like through this tunnel, and I have to navigate through this edge of what's drama, and the light side and the dark side of drama, and through in the middle, which is the sweet spot, which is, I'm I'm talking a bit like, if I do lots of surfing. I've done a little bit of surfing. It's actually really fun, but there's no way I'll ever go through a green room. But that's how I experience this. It's like navigating through this tunnel, and you've got to get the sweet spot in the middle, and that's the authentic space, and that's the place that will make you ride into bliss of coming out the other side. So that's really how I experience it. Learning to navigate through what is authentic and what is drama. Now, if we talk about the female evolutionary, this rise of the feminine that's coming out, and as you may or may not know, it's really about honoring the aspect of the feminine essence in the truest form. This is encompassing and welcoming the true authentic essence of masculine as well, and these things that we can meet and come together and create a divine union, which is the masculine, the healthy masculine, the healthy feminine coming together and creating this crossover space of where we meet in our true essences. So for me, the female evolutionary is about acknowledging myself as in my feminine, in my true authentic feminine power. And that's where I come with for this. because realizing how powerful we are as women, this is part of realizing what life would be like if you were to connect to your senses, is that there's a responsibility that comes with waking yourself up, waking your body up, and a lot, and it affects so many different areas of your life. Now, one thing that can really guide you is knowing your menstrual cycle, and really getting in touch with how this works for you. And I've been doing a lot of work on myself regarding this to heal this part of myself which just thinks, oh, I'm in my PMT and now I feel great. PMT, feeling great. And what is actually happening there? And this I would really encourage you to do. So I actually realized that through most of my the time the time that I was sleeping and attracting lots of unconscious behavior into my life, and bullying and low self-confidence, I was on the pill from my mid-teens through to the end of my 20s. And when I came off the pill, that was when I suppose my life started rocking, because I probably started feeling myself more and feeling like, oh shit, this is not right. I should not be living in this life. And when I came off the pill, that's when it's like the rose tinted glasses came off. And when I look back now, this is how I see it happen. The rose tinted glasses came off, and then I started experiencing, I didn't know it then, but I started experiencing feelings within my body and sensing things. Sensing, first of all, that where I was and the relationship I was in was not right and not healthy for me. And you know, actually coming out of that in a very messy and destructive way. But that was also part of the process to realize, well, this is what I don't want. And so when I started investigating into the menstrual cycle and how to heal, my first question was like, how can I heal having PMT? So I started doing this research and realized that actually premenstrual stress or premenstrual tension is really very energetic, and it's to do with the tensions in the body, and it can be a lot to do with the tensions in the body, the energy that you hold in your body, and how you experience yourself. And I used to be, so from going on the pill to and also always taking ibuprofen or paracetamol or whatever it is to numb the pain, to never really, I don't know, maybe once a year I take a painkiller, but absolutely not taking any painkillers anymore or any antibiotics or anything to work through any pain, but to channel the energy and in releasing these parts of my body, especially because I was talking earlier about opening up the lower chakras, opening up these parts of the body, creating that space, and then there's less tension. And the thing is that when we start to do that, we start to see what is blocked, what is in the way. And so memories will come up, fears will come up, drama will come up as I'm learning to navigate, wow, what was held there? What was causing that stress? What was causing that pain? Where was I not listening to myself? Every time that there is pain, every time that there's drama, every time that there's frustration, or particularly as women, we're either like a princess, like everything has to be my way, or like a shielded maid, like no, fuck off, nobody's getting in. Every time we experience that or we have that behavior, that is because we're not in line with ourselves somewhere. We're not responding to our needs, and we're not honoring ourselves or expressing ourselves fully or allowing ourselves to be truly who we are. So all of this goes into the senses and the feeling of the body. So why I'm saying this is to come in alignment with your menstrual cycle. And there's so many great books out there at the moment to help guide you through this, and some courses as well. I don't particularly give courses in this, but I do really recommend that you find your way to understand your menstrual cycle and the power that this can bring with you, and understanding when you are in an outward energy and when you need to come into an inward energy, and when you can also, when you're expressive, your yang energy, and then coming back into your female energy, the inward energy, the seeing inside, and this really is, everything is a cycle, it's just so incredible how this menstrual cycle is also in line with the moon. So the more you become in line with your body, more actually you flow with the moon. And it's so incredible how this happens. It's just pure magic. And then obviously we might think, well, what about birth control? Well, there's a lot of different ways to experience safe sex out there, and it doesn't have to mean shutting off your senses from your body. So there's lots of different methods, and also when you come more into tantric relationships, you realize, it's not all about the explosion and the ejaculation, and it really is about an energy exchange. So there's so many. I think this is a topic where I need to probably break it down a bit and speak about little parts and little pieces to start understanding. But as a general question, what would it be like if I was to connect to my senses? Basically, like, if you want to feel more, you've got to, I think it's like accepting, like, you've got to open up a Pandora's box, like, we are trained to shut down, cut down, come into these expectations, into this boxed concrete sort of lifestyle, even if we live in nature, even if it's so much ingrained within us through so many centuries that this is how we are meant to do it. So as we're coming alive and finding our expression of our senses, it's going to be messy. And it's going to be beautiful as well, all of that. So there's things that can really help to navigate this. And and these are some of the courses that I do, and this is the work that I do with women, is that it's not all about having a nice time. Ultimately, it makes life so much better, but it also makes life confrontational. And we have to face that in order to accept our transformation, and in order to accept our evolutionary path, and which is beyond our own personal needs. This is what we need to, as a collective, do right now, is awaken ourselves, awaken our bodies, awaken our lives, awaken ourselves to the truth of who we are, and really come into connection. We're from a society of separation, and now we really need to come into connection. And this is my invitation through Priestess of Creation for women, is to learn how to come into connection. In saying yes to creation, creativity, sensuality, sexuality, reclaiming those aspects of yourself once again, and awakening those essences within your body, learning how to feel what that feels like, letting your creation come from inside your body rather than the outside doing. I need to do this. I need to do this and this. You're awakening your true essence of who you really are. And this can feel scary for many reasons. For women, we have an ingrained, like thousands of years ingrained within our DNA, that it's not safe to show our power, that it's not safe to show the truth of who we are, that we're not safe. We were burned as witches and drowned as witches because of our natural senses, our instinct, our power, our connection to this life force and this energy that we have. And we are conditioned to believe it's not safe to show that it's not okay. But the thing is that we need to do that because it really is okay. And when we start opening to this, life, our relationships, and the world starts to change. So coming to connecting with your senses is really, really important. To know what is authentic and what is drama, and to navigate through this. And awakening the body as a guide. Body work is fantastic, and you can do this in so many different ways. Going deeply into the body, saying yes to, oh, I really hate this experience. It makes me feel really shit every time I've done it. I always come away feeling really bad. That is great. You need to, this is part of the process. You might come out of some body work, for example. I used to, when I first started doing biodanza, I would feel really crap after it. It was like, no, I hate it. I'm not going again. And then surrendering into that, like surrendering into these memories that arise, surrendering into these feelings that come up that, oh my God, I don't want to be seen. I'm so hurt in these places. And noticing the contraction that comes after that, and knowing that it's just part of the process. And actually, that is the healing that takes place. And that is the body that starts to awaken. That is the wisdom that starts coming. That's the intelligence that starts coming through to show you, like, no, you don't like to do this. You don't want to go there, into that memory, into that feeling. But then relaxing into that and knowing, this is part of the process. I'm going to see it the best way that I can because I want to clear it. I want to be free from these restraints that hold me back. So, in awakening the body wisdom, there are so many beautiful practices. When I trained as priestess of love and sacred sexuality, it was really beautiful to come into these practices with other women as we were training together, and I really acknowledged how doing body work feels like an ancient remembering of the truth of the femininity, and coming back to my senses and letting those senses come alive. And there's so many practices, and I'll probably put some in videos as well coming up, that you can do which help you remember who you are. And that's really what this journey is about, remembering who you are and who you really are, and learning to, when you feel that essence in your body, like, yeah, I feel really alive. Yeah, this really gets me going. I get bubbles in my body, or however it is, and realizing that this is an anchor. This is somewhere to work from. This is this sense that I'm feeling, this openness. This is where to create life from. In authenticity, in soft power. There's so much power that comes through when we start to understand our softness and the power of our softness, and the vulnerability, understanding vulnerability and what that can mean to open and open and open. And yeah, and the power that comes with that. So it really is a shift in paradigm, in the old way of forcing everything to be done and doing things, and even, you know, doing yoga. Don't do yoga. Experience yoga. Experience it within your body. Know that if you want to ask for the change, don't just be there on your mat doing some stretches and think, oh yeah, this is really great, now I'm doing yoga. Well, you know, take it to another level. I had an amazing teacher, and he was so he brought the spirituality, he brought the energy alive in the body, and I really valued his classes because I got what he meant by taking it to another level. You know, don't just be on the mat doing some poses and how far can I stretch and how far do I look good in this pose? Oh, this is great, you know, fantastic. You know, we all need to move our bodies. But what started happening was that I was actually taking in what he was saying, and the energy that was awakening within my body, it actually became a real spiritual experience where I'd experienced the energetics of my body just completely expanding or getting completely high off my own energy system, moving in my body, and yeah, experiencing the divine energy running through my body by relaxing and going into those deeper places of opening and becoming the yoga. You know, I'm no yoga expert or anything. I'm just sharing my experience of when I was doing yoga with this really beautiful man, and his sessions. That when you every time there's an opportunity when you're going to, when you want to connect with yourself more, you go to a workshop, you have an experience, is to more consciously take that experience beyond the let's have a nice time, and really go in and see how it's working for your body. And so this for me is like, this is how it works, this is how you start working on it. I think it's such a big topic, it's difficult to answer this question today. What would life be like if I could connect to my senses? In short, connecting to the life force and the energy that is your senses, and understanding what they are, and navigating out of the drama and into the authentic body wisdom. Life becomes very interesting. It feels like you actually become in life rather than letting life dictate to you. And it's also very magic, because when you start to open your senses, you actually see, wow, we're not using the capacity of our bodies, even a fragment of what's possible, you know. And I've had some incredible energetic experiences where literally, when you're on a higher consciousness, a higher plane, everything becomes brighter and lighter. Like literally having this experience, or literally seeing the energy coming off plants, you know, and the wildlife, and feeling the pulse of nature, you know, without, you know, anything. It's like just totally pure, sober body experiencing this life force of this energy. So when we start to connect to our senses, this really is possible. It's incredible. And it's just the beginning. It's not like I see this all the time, because I'm constantly in my flow and my cycle of in and out of my shadow and my light. But what I find amazing is that when we open our bodies and we start doing this, and we start awakening our body wisdom, that this is actually possible. And when we bring this magic into our lives, it can change our lives. It changes how we navigate our lives and what we attract into our lives. And as testimony for this, because I had like I said, the breakdown in my life, and I also went through a phase of coming out of like a bad relationship, let's say, so that, destructive relationship, and then lots of destructive relationships along the way, and then I went into a 2-year period where my body just completely shut down, and I thought that I would never have any sexual contact with anybody ever again. Kissing somebody was just, the thought was so repulsive, and I knew that something big was happening to me, and it was literally 2 years that I just had a complete shutdown in my body. My body was like, no, you cannot do this to yourself anymore. And then when I came out the other side, I was like, one day I looked at someone and was like, whoa, I fancy you. And I was like, really? Whoa, it's like something is happening here. I fancy you? This is very strange. So I was observing myself. And then after that, the partners, I met a couple of men, and they were different. The people who I was attracting were different, and significantly different. And so now I've come to this place now where I'm in conscious partnership and really experiencing what love can be. And that place obviously comes from the love place within myself that needs to radiate in order to connect with the other, and that love that can go forward, so into the work, into the sharing, into what is beyond that. So this is why senses and connecting with the senses for me is such a powerful process. It's so important, because I go from this place of repression of myself to full expression, or as full as I can get right now. Still work in progress. So there's this from suppression to expression, and that's why it's so important. And it is possible to awaken. It is possible to come into the body and to really feel what the body wisdom has to tell us, and let us be guided from there. So, that's about half an hour's talking. I'm getting used to how I can share my experience of transformation with you, to inspire the female evolutionary going forward, so that every woman can experience what they need to for themselves, as we all come together to come into the truth of who we are, so that that affects our relationships with ourselves, with each other, and with the greater, wider collective, so that we can bring a lot more beauty into life as a whole. So I feel very passionate about that. So check out what I do with Priestess of Creation at www.priestessofcreation.com. This is growing at the moment, and there's lots of exciting things going to come up. So I really look forward to sharing that more with you. You could also check out some of my art projects, where as an artist, I really use art as a way of accessing my internal landscapes, and this play between the inner and outer landscapes, and what goes on there, and how that is interpreted, how we use that as a process of transformation and creation. So, and that's hazelevans.co.uk. So this is it for today. What would life be like if I could connect to my senses? That's my answer. Happy navigating through into your body wisdom, and if you need help or guidance, then just email me through Priestess of Creation, and we'll get in contact. Okay, lots of love. Take care. Bye.